The 75-year history of Pittman-Robertson is really interesting and intriguing. It's this uniquely American idea, much like the national parks. And how it started was with hunters and sportsmen in the early 1930s being really concerned about the decimation of wildlife populations, specifically game populations like elk, deer, pronghorn antelope, wild turkey. At the same time, you had Aldo Leopold, the father of wildlife management in the United States, espousing certain scientific principles for how to manage wildlife. And these two forces came together, and these hunters and sportsmen went to the United States Congress and said, how can we help? How can we help bring these populations back? Give us the mechanism to do this because we want to pay. We want to be part of solving the problem. And hence you got the Pittman-Robertson Act, which was essentially 11% excise tax on firearms, ammunition, and other hunting gear. And so compelling was this idea that in 1950, Congress passed the Dingell-Johnson Act at the urging of anglers and fishermen out there to do essentially the same thing, a tax on tackle, fishing gear, boat fuel, to use for marine resource conservation as well. Here you have hunters and anglers who are specifically paying voluntarily an excise tax, and they know those funds are going to go strictly to the states so that the states can do wildlife management. But at the same time, everybody else benefits. More wildlife, more fish, more wildlife and fish habitat, that's something everybody can enjoy. You just don't have to be a hunter. 4 million acres have been purchased, developed, and managed for wildlife conservation. That's wildlife refuges, that's public hunting grounds, that's wetlands. These dollars are used for research and hunter education. All of these things put together is essentially the North American wildlife model. As a state Fish and Wildlife Commissioner, I know if we mess it up, we're directly accountable to the hunters and anglers. When I think of Pittman-Robertson, the bottom line is I think we ought to hug a hunter. We ought to hug a fisherman too. I mean, we ought to thank the sportsman's industry out there, because without their passion and without their willingness to create this system and support this system for 75 years, wildlife management in Florida and the nation wouldn't be the success that it is today.